Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, but right front there, I had to go back and get to venture hosts in the past, because in all due respect, the timing right now is so screwed up right now. People have no ideas of solving the problems that we're having here within our community, in this country for that matter. So I went back and I pulled out the deal, and all of a sudden I'm bringing some people on now. We're going to be talking about solutions to our present problems, which we already saw back in those old days. Yeah. And it just so happened, I happen to have the truly Multnomah County sheriff person who I met some years ago, and he's been sheriff up to the date, and you need to know him. His name is Don DuPay. You know Don DuPay? You know, he's a Navy rat, just like I was. I was in the Marine Corps. He was in the Navy. I mean, the Navy was the Department of the Marine Corps, but okay, but we've been fighting about that for days.
You wish.
I think he brought a check. Did you bring a check today?
You know why the Navy exists?
What is that?
Because Marine Corps need heroes.
Let's go on now, folks. We got to go on with the show. Anyway, but the bottom line is that, John, thanks, nice seeing you, buddy. You're looking great.
Thank you.
Good. And then Teresa, the commander-in-chief, the commander-in-chief, the commanding officer. I know they're trying to get rid of admirals now, but I think she's going to stick around.
I look a little different now.
She's looking great. She's looking great. But anyway, folks, what we're going to do now is that, as I indicated on that first show I had with John Leuenberger, we're going to spend some time talking about solutions in our community. We got problems here, in actually the country, but we've been talking about these issues and solutions here in the Portland area for a number of years. In fact, when I met Don, and then we talked about when he was running for county sheriff.
Yeah, 2006.
2006, years back. And serious back, and if you go back in the time in some of the shows, if you Google YouTube, you'll see some of these shows that we did, and I played those periodically from during that particular time, even to this date. But now we're going to get right down to specifics, and those specifics that we're going to be talking about, just getting right on the deal. And some of you probably looked at. Some of you maybe read the newspaper, some of you look at TV, a lot of us don't even look at the news and whatever in many ways. But the bottom line, we got to bring it to the table. We really have to bring it to the table. It's very important. So I've got Don and I got Teresa here because we're going to be talking about this public safety piece. Right. That's a key issue. Even when you start thinking about the homeless issue, the mental illness, this, that, and the other, public safety is definitely all involved. Yeah. They're the point persons in this whole issue aspect of it, and that's why I've got these folks here with me today. Don is basically he's published and are written with his wife. 4 books, and she's very active, if you will, and very current, if you will, on a lot of these issues aspect of it. I'm just getting in lay plan, and we're going to be talking here in a lay language. We're going to keep this thing at about, excuse the French, at about an 8th grade level, because people need to communicate. They're having problems. You can't look at TV news without knowing what the hell is going on. Yeah. You can't translate it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when you go before these folks that you elected to office and they give you 3 minutes.
Right.
I mean, that's insulting.
It's insulting.
It's insulting.
Oh my gosh.
And I bring this up right off the bat because this is another reason why we're there. We saw the last commission, the newly formed commission meeting the other day, the last one that they just had, and they voted on this sanctuary city thing. Got me? And you saw the way the thing was on. 12 people sitting at the table, and then how they treated a senior citizen that was there.
Yeah.
A whitehead guy. I mean, a senior citizen aspect of it. They treated, and the guy said, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" And then the woman who was there, who was basically saying, "I got something on my mind," and all of a sudden they were yelling at her and throwing the finger in the back of her head, and no one would say anything. It's insulting, as opposed to dealing with the issue.
Right.
Now I'm concerned about those folks that did that also too, because they need that public safety. They're not going through the system to come into this country, point blank.
Yeah.
So they're not responsible. It's the entities that basically allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
in many ways. So let's get down to public safety, John and I we're having this conversation a little bit about what that is, but I want him to just I want him to speak and be like as if he's running for county for county sheriff again, because the sheriff were the jailers, and John was right there, and I'm just right up front and just say, Don, first off, how you doing? Let's get there.
Good, thank you.
You get to see you got the gear on. You're
Yep.
looking good. You got your jackets on. You got your cover. Oh wow, we were just having small talk about that piece aspect. And there's Teresa. Thanks very much for being here, Teresa.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Let's get right into that public safety piece.
Okay.
And let's talk about the whole issue of public safety that we have today here in Portland, Oregon, and the structure that we have. The unions involved, and we got the chief sitting at the mayor's office, and we got the unions very much involved. Just whatever's on your mind that you know, what do you think?
Our police department right now is a total mess.
Okay.
It's headed by a guy who's fat, waiting for his pension. He's not a leader, and he needs to go.
Now that's the
He
chief
needs
of
to go
police.
right away.
Chief Day.
Chief Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
He's a talking head.
there's too much specialization in the patrol division. I mean, they don't need a traffic division. They don't need patrolmen that are doing vice work. They don't need patrolmen that are doing narcotics work. Those are patrolmen. They should be patrolling. Specialty comes at the detective division. So if you're working narcotics, you should be a detective. Vice, you should be a detective. And what they should do is make all district cars two-man cars only. And I will, as the chief of police, I will provide as much coverage as I can with the two-man cars that I have. Mm-hmm. And whatever's left over that's uncovered will be the responsibility of the sheriff's office or the state police, because they also have the same jurisdiction. So what we have is too much specialization. What we need is the district car should be responsible for everything that happens in the district, including traffic accidents, up to if you get a murder, you got to call the detectives. Mm-hmm. But the two-man car, district car, should be responsible for everything in the district, including traffic accidents. Mm-hmm. There's a fear of the traffic. There's a fear of cops, traffic accidents. They're afraid to investigate them. They don't know how. They're really very simple. I investigated hundreds when I was a traffic cop and a city cop on the street. I worked for 6 years on the street. I investigated hundreds of accidents, including, including fatals. So there's no big deal about it, what I'm trying to say. So you teach these guys how to investigate accidents. You give them each one a district car, a radar gun. They're fun to play with. Mm-hmm. The cops will use them. Mm-hmm. They won't lose any revenue because they got rid of the traffic division. Mm-hmm. They just got more boots on the ground doing what they should be doing.
With uniforms.
With uniforms, absolutely. So there's just too much specialization. You need to get back to basics. Patrolmen need to patrol. Detectives need to be detectives.
And Don is also a little disappointed in Chief Day because for a long time Chief Day refused to involve the Portland Police Bureau in providing support to the ICE.
Isn't he the commanding
agents.
officer?
Yeah, and he's just he gives the impression that he really doesn't care. He's just going to go along with what's politically trendy. So for a long time he said, no, they're not going to do that. This is a sanctuary city, and that's fine. That was his option. But then Trump got involved, and Trump sends, these federal officers to Portland and the military. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden Chief Day is like, oh, okay, we'll involve the Portland police. They'll help out. He just comes across like a talking head and someone that just is not really that engaged, and he's just waiting for his retirement pension.
Mm-hmm. Davis broke the basic rule of police work. He said, my policeman cannot help a federal officer. Policemen always help other policemen. Mm-hmm. What the hell's the matter with you? Where's the union in this?
Yes. Now, how did the union get in this?
Where's the union in this? Why is the union going to say, okay, chief, we can't help other cops? Or is the union going to say, we're going to do the right thing? I don't know. I haven't heard from them.
So, and with that said, I just want to say that I've seen a lot of these federal officers do a lot of bad things. They're using excessive force. They're assaulting elderly people. They're assaulting women that don't pose a threat. They're on edge. They're behaving in an unprofessional way. So
They're tired of being harassed.
well, yeah, but they still have to control themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm the thing about ICE is this: I'm not for just mindless situations where they go and they get people that maybe an immigrant, maybe they're not. And in terms of the Hispanic community, I really believe that the majority of Hispanic people in Portland are really good, decent, hardworking people. They're not the immigrants we need to worry about. We need to worry about immigrants that come from other countries, particularly the Middle East, where they come from Muslim-majority countries, where they have learned ingrained woman hatred and misogyny. Those are the real threats, not the Hispanic community. Hispanic people are generally Christian. They're generally people that value, Western values. They have, a culture that's, basically American. They're not like these other immigrants. So I support the Hispanic community. I just don't think the Hispanic community is that much of a threat. But there are people of all nationalities that are immigrants that are in America that are sexual predators. They're rapists. They're child molesters. They are pedophiles. Those people need to be apprehended and deported. That's simply the reality. So it's like you have to maintain a balance when you're talking about immigration and when you're talking about what ICE is doing good and what they're doing that's really not good. So that's just my opinion.
It's the Muslims that are the problem when they come here.
A lot of extremist Muslims.
Muslims
yes.
don't like dogs. I mean, who don't like dogs? Who don't like dogs?
Not important, but it's kind of important. Not liking the animals, But the other thing I'm going to throw it on the table at the same time, we got in this business of allowing folks who are wanting to come to this country not respecting the form of government that we have.
Exactly.
And the system for entry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
The U.S. Constitution.
The U.S. Constitution aspect of it.
Yes.
And we do have that. And the whole
Right.
idea, it basically takes them through that process where they speak the common language, which is
Right.
English.
Right.
Because we got so many diversions, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a major, major problem. And we got into this thing with both of those parties.
Yeah.
They made it political. They started looking at the vote
Yeah.
to get elected. And so now we're in a mess.
Yeah.
And
We have that problem right here in City Council.
That's right.
We have one, Angelina Murillo. She was born in Paraguay. She's an anarchist. She believes that all police departments should be abolished.
Right.
She's a communist enthusiast.
Right.
She's an Antifa enthusiast. And she's on our City Council poisoning the city with her worn-out ideas.
Well,
Defund the police.
Angelina Murillo is 28. I'm sorry,
kid.
but she's an infant. Angelina Murillo and Candace Avalos, Samir, a couple of the others. They're anti-police because they're inexperienced, because they don't have the background. They don't have a background in criminology. They don't understand police science. They probably have never even heard the term police science. They don't understand police training or procedure, and they are all relatively young. All they see is police are bad, police are all racist, etc. Portland police is manned by majority white men. The reality is PPB has a diverse group of police officers. There is a large number of Hispanic officers, Asian officers, women officers,
Chaos.
So we have city council members who are anti-police. And unfortunately, when you have situations like that, a lot of times it takes time and experience for those individuals to have a really traumatic experience where they are helped by police, where they can overcome their biases. Police are not all one thing. You can't paint police with one brush, and police are a necessary part of every society and culture on this planet. Police systems have existed since Roman times, and that's because people are violent, you know, and that's never going to change. So unfortunately, for a lot of people, like many of these city leaders, it takes time and experience for them having to go through a traumatic experience where a loved one is raped or murdered or assaulted to the point that they almost die, and they're left with this situation. And these people don't value victims' rights, because I don't think any of them have really experienced anything like that, where they can. I mean, I've had several experiences. I know people of color that have too, where Portland police officers have come forward and really helped them and saved their lives and made a real impact on the trajectory of the rest of their lives. So when you have people like a lot of these city leaders who paint police with one brush, police are all like this, it's extremism, and we can't have extremism in Portland or in this country. We have to have a balanced approach to our understanding of politics and, you know, societal mores and culture and values. We can't be extremist.
Well, let's think about the election process. How did they get there?
Exactly. This new form of government, this new form of voting.
Government, you know, and in all due respect, I'll share my little experience that I had. And I've run through the years for office, and my whole purpose was that I didn't have the experience. So consequently, my way was basically running in the primary.
Right.
That's the only way they would answer my phone calls.
Right.
The media, even when I interviewed with the media, I learned they had no background, so they couldn't ask me a question.
Right.
I had the experience, and it was sort of an insult. But my point is that I did this on an ongoing basis. The whole idea is that at least getting some of the issues on the table with some sort of a solution.
Right.
But I've been doing it. But now all of a sudden, the last run that I ran for,
and that was last year, right?
The last year. That's when I ran for the city council aspect of it. And like I normally would do, I'd wait till the last minute to find out who's on the list. And I went there and filled the form out, like I normally do. Name they got my history, the whole 9 yards. They know every pimple in my butt, for that matter. But the bottom line is that at the end of the day, it was fine. I paid my money, went up to the clerk. No problem, Bruce. Thank you, Bob. And 3 days later, I get a call back. We're taking you off the list.
And who was that contacted you?
This is the elections, the election bureau.
So you were basically discriminated against because...
Oh, big time.
And that's what's changing about Portland politics. These city leaders don't listen to the public. I watched the meeting the other day, a couple of days ago. The president, I can't remember her name, she comes off like an ice queen. Very cold, very condescending, and a lot of them do. And then towards the end of the meeting, they were laughing derisively at speakers. And the speakers didn't have 3 minutes, they had 2 minutes. 2 minutes to
exactly
to speak and to rush through their statement.
There's no way.
And the city city council members were condescending a lot, with the exception of Loretta Smith. Loretta Smith is really good. I really admire Loretta Smith, and she understands the value of police, and she understands the value of public safety. I watched several speakers get up there, and time again, these business owners were talking about, we need more police officers. Do you think they're listening? They're not listening, because they think they don't have to answer to the public. My idea, personally, is, you know, in the 70s, and I'm sure you remember this, when things happened that Portlanders didn't like, they organized, they marched to City Hall, and they protested. That's what we need to do. We need to protest against these new city leaders that are anti-police, anti-public safety, and make our presence known, because they're not listening. And I think that's what it's going to take. It's going to take organizing, a marching to City Hall, and protesting.
You know, the other interesting thing about when I went and filed for that office, there was a gentleman. He's in District Number 2 also too. He was the guy that basically, was it Shamir or something? His name,
right?
Shamir or something like that. And he was there, basically doing the same thing. So naturally, I would say, hey, look, why don't you come on the show? I'd like to interview you. I knew he had no background, but the whole idea to do this interview, I would have shared with him, because he didn't have my background for sure. But hey, as far as I'm concerned, it's about the people's deal. All of a sudden, he said fine. His chief of staff was there and said fine. Never showed up.
Of course.
Didn't want to show up at all.
Of course.
And then he was the one that basically, I guess, is leading this whole issue with the sanctuary city.
Sure.
He wrote up there.
Well, he's extremely anti-police too.
So then you ask yourself that's another piece.
Right.
And then you
we have to hope that they will learn, because if you remember our former mayor Ted Wheeler, When he first came on, he was anti-police. He went along with Joanne Hardesty,
Yep, he did.
defund the police, get rid of the
Right.
police,
Yep.
and eventually he learned that she was full
He was
of
in boot camp. He was in
full
boot
of-
camp.
yeah.
Right.
He was in boot camp.
In boot camp.
He learned, and he changed his
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, he
Right.
did. Yeah,
he
he
was
did.
for the police
Yeah,
then.
he did.
He got educated.
Yes, he did.
And I'm hoping that something similar will happen with our present form of whatever they call government. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, he should have. That's what I'm saying. Now he has the background. He should have ran again.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Well, he's burnt out.
No, but understand what I'm still
Definitely
saying.
burnt out.
Yeah, I know that.
He's burnt out,
And then we got Keith there, and I met him. I was trying to support him. He's a very neat guy. This from North Portland, this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. But hey, he has no background
He
at all.
seems really, really nice.
Nice guy.
He seems
But
very decent, but he seems incredibly naive.
But he,
Yeah.
no, he's in boot camp.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
See, and I was there to kind of show him around.
Yeah.
But guess what? Those elements got to him. Stay away from that Bruce Broussard.
Yeah.
He's a troublemaker. No, I'm no troublemaker. I run for office. I'm not just
Right.
beating my gibs.
Yeah,
I
well,
got
you are a
something to say.
troublemaker.
You know what I mean? Was
Well,
that? But you taught me. No problem.
You do what you're legally
Yeah, you
able
do.
to do.
Yes,
you
right,
run
right,
for office.
right.
That's your right.
You run for your right.
You
for
don't
your
need
rights.
their permission.
No, you don't.
You don't need their
You don't.
approval.
You don't. You don't.
But they act like they're a law unto themselves.
Exactly.
You know,
so we
they're-
got a problem.
We do.
We got a
Yeah.
problem, and then we came up with this 4th district, and I'd say the majority of them, I'd say almost 99.1% of them are basically looking at that $150,000.
All they care about, I agree. I agree,
the
Bruce.
money. It's just strictly
All they
about the
care
money.
about is the money.
And then all of a sudden, one day, people get tired
Right.
and say, "Well, gee, why don't we just take 2 weeks off?"
Right.
They just took 2 weeks off,
Right.
and then later on, about maybe a month, let's take another week off.
Well, and then when they decided to go to Austria,
Yes.
which to the
That's
tune
insulting.
of between $50,000 and $70,000 taxpayer money. They say it's their money. No, it's taxpayer money because taxpayers pay their salary.
Well, it's
you know?
really a frustration, and the mayor's seat has no veto powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even in that meeting, you notice, I waited. I looked at that whole thing. They never gave him the opportunity to articulate himself before the vote.
Yeah.
Well, he's the same part of the problem. He has no guts. He's not a leader. He's a follower. Nobody ever heard of him until he got elected. Who in the hell was he?
I know.
Where did he come from?
Well,
I don't know.
he really did.
All of a sudden, he's mayor.
Yep. He's man. The guy, I've called him on several occasions. Saying, look, I tried to get him on the show this time around. Now he's sitting in the seat. No way will he.
You've
return his
interviewed a
call.
lot of very powerful people, including Ted Wheeler,
Yep.
when he was first starting
Yep,
out.
yep.
And then a lot of these politicians,
yes,
they get to a point where they don't need
That's right.
the Oregon Voters Digest, and
right.
they're too
Yeah,
good
yeah,
for the Oregon
yeah,
Voters
yeah.
Digest, and so that's when they don't return calls.
I remember when Joan Hardesty was here.
Right, Joanne
yeah.
Hardesty's
You did
been
her?
on
Oh yeah, I had
a
Joanne
couple of
during that
times.
particular time. In fact,
Yeah, that's
she,
right.
we was the one that pulled it across. But the bottom line is that she came.
Yeah,
She came, and you made the point about in all due respect, there were 2 or 3 Hispanic women. That on the,
Yeah.
Well, one of them was chief of staff for Joanne.
Oh, that was Angelina
That's Marillo.
Murillo.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a relationship there.
You know,
And this Ferrer, same situation. You know, he's the one, the anti-police piece.
Yeah.
And then, I'll be straight up with you. Joanne tried to run again,
Yeah.
but it was the last minute.
Yeah.
And they said no.
Well, the thing about Joanne, I mean, I just want to say, I think Joanne has a really good heart, and she
yeah.
has
Oh, yeah.
a lot of good ideas, and she's a very smart person. I don't agree with a lot of what she did,
Yeah.
but the fact that she showed up on your show, I'm not surprised by that, because she's a gracious person in a lot of ways. I've met her once, and we spent an evening together when she was first running years ago. But I don't agree with a lot of what she did. I definitely do not agree with her anti-police stance, because it's just not practical. And I think a lot of Portlanders get really alarmed when they hear these people like, Candace Avalos and Angelita Murillo and Samir and Mitch Green and Jamie Dunphy with their anti-police attitudes.
yep.
They get worried, is it possible to abolish police departments or abolish prisons? It's never going to happen. And I always tell people that, don't worry, it's never going to happen. it's never going to happen.
Well, the issue is public safety.
Exactly.
They don't have no background to talk to public, and that's why they veer off to these different areas aspect of it.
And the meeting the other day, and the president, I can't remember her name, Piddle something, she's got a funny name, but she was really cold.
Oh, very cold.
Very condescending.
Very cold. I mean,
and just this attitude, and she doesn't understand how she comes off. You know, it's really important to be gracious to speakers, but when you come across like an ice queen, that doesn't make you look good, you know, and she doesn't look good.
Well, in all due respect, they're all in boot camp.
Exactly.
And we are the DIs.
Right. And they think they have all the answers.
They do not have the answers.
And they don't listen to their constituency, and they don't listen to speakers.
That's right. That's right. And so from the citizen standpoint, the voters, and that's what we're speaking, we're voters.
Right.
We're part of the process.
Right.
We got the wrong folks. Okay? And I'm saying, okay, they've got their own individual this, that, and the other, but the fact of the matter is we need leaders now.
Right.
We need leaders that understand what the issues are. You got me?
I think a lot of these leaders are going to be one-hit wonders in the same way that Joanne was a one-hit wonder, and in the same way that Chloe Udaly was a one-hit wonder. They're going to be one-hit wonders. I don't think they believe that, but I think in the long run, that's how it's going to turn out.
Do you think that the media understands where we're coming from now? Are they? Because people do not like the idea of the media aspect of it. Because I'm right up front with it. They got problems too.
Well, Portland Legacy Media is a joke. It's a joke. They don't report on anything. They're scared. They're cowardly.
They're getting the check. They get the check. They're getting the check.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't know. We don't have enough newspapers in Portland, and Portland Legacy Media is just really constrained by their fears of offending someone. You know, it's very disappointing.
Well, you know, it's again the same thing with the whole issue of the public safety aspect of it. You know, when you know, in our form of government, we in that structure, the National Guard, every state has a militia, a state militia, and the president can activate those individuals and make them part of the process.
Right.
So they're public safety officers too.
Right.
So the name of the game is that, but the way they're doing it, such a divide, as if to say the people had nothing to do with that. They did. We elected those folks.
Right.
That entire Congress, I mean, we elected those folks.
Yeah.
So consequently, I mean, and then when someone says, they don't even understand the definition of the Guard. I was a Guard member. I was a National Guard member. I was a warrant officer in the Guard aspect of it. And the bottom line is that I was citizen soldier at that point in time. Even though I was in the Marine Corps, I got out and spent some more time there. But the bottom line is that when one becomes part of that, I thought when Trump activated those troops, so to speak, I said, well, boom, it's going to be people from the community.
Yeah.
All he had to do is basically say, okay, fine, make them be a part of the deal. They would now get introduced to the problems that are there within their uniform. And they would also be kind of like the DIs for the new folks that are coming in that are not from their community, which I think would have been very effective. But the way we're doing it is being so anti-aspect of it. Sure. You got my point? And say, okay, fine. And then all of a sudden telling the people this to go out there and demonstrate and do this and do this. And got all these young folks out there, and like you said, folks getting this, that, that. They know that the line, you can't cross the line. And then there's an encouragement from media to say, okay, it's okay, just go and do what you want to do. Right. We got lawyers waiting on the sideline to take their cases and sue the citizen and get paid. I mean, it's just... it's frustrating. Yeah. One thing that I take away from this recent City Hall meeting is all of the business owners that were literally pleading and visibly upset. They're going to lose their business. We're losing businesses every day in Portland. And the response from the city leaders, with the exception of Loretta Smith, I think the world of Loretta, but they were incredibly cold. And I think that one thing that they need to be reminded of is a city cannot function without commerce. We absolutely need businesses. Portland is at a crisis right now, and it is not going to get better if small businesses are closing by the daily
because there's no public safety,
Mm-hmm.
because we have 800, a little over 800 police officers.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2025. In 1965, we had about 800 police officers. What's the difference? It's 2025 now, and we have a little over 800 police officers. Still, we should have a police department with 1,500 to 2,000 police officers, and we don't.
But we had a chance when we brought in the
You know,
National Guard.
Don has a great expression. Don has a great expression. He says, "Everybody hates cops until they need one," and that's true. You know.
You know, the police department recently hired 25 brand new cops.
Yep.
And that's great. They should have hired 100 because that's what we need.
Right.
It's like, here we go piecemeal again.
Right.
Let's get a few more. Let's get a few more. Do it all at once. Hire 100 cops.
Well,
it's a good job. Starts at $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
No experience necessary. Training provided.
Yeah.
What's to lose?
Yeah.
I want to go.
I hear that.
I want the job.
They're talking about the fact, well, we're too old for that. The bottom line is, but we've got the experience. I mean,
Well, and also we have common sense.
and the good common sense.
Yeah.
In fact, as far as I'm gonna say, making sense. We hired 800 of them. We just hired 800 of them.
Yeah.
Trump activated the Guard.
Oh God.
No, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying. But we got 800 folks aspect of it. But they jumping on the personality thing. I'm not interested in his personality. He sits in the seat and he said, "Let's talk." Just imagine if you had 800 people tell the citizens across the board, "Hey, you can come downtown and eat now, because we're going to have folks on every corner, blah 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 routine. It's going to be safe." They're just looking at safe, and you got to have that, because that's the deterrent. You got to have a uniform of some sort on.
You know, unfortunately, Donald Trump has proved that in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
He's got so many cops on the street, people are afraid to jaywalk.
That's right. That's
You know, and it's safe, but it's safe.
The problem with the National Guard or whoever coming to Portland is that these are guys from out of state.
No. The state militia. See, they didn't clarify that.
Okay.
The state militia, when he activated the Guard, it was activating the Oregon National Guard. They just recently came up from the standpoint of saying, with the business about the Californians, bringing those folks in. No, it's just they not have both.
Well, that's good.
And then the governor basically is saying to the general over there, "Oh no, you just don't push this ICE thing." Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a break. It's all public safety.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. I'm not saying take sides. It's public safety we're talking
The
about.
problem is that so many people are seeing Hispanic people being taken, and people really get upset by that, and I understand that, because our Hispanic community in Portland is a strong community of hardworking people who are basically Christian with Western values and Western sensibilities. They're not really the issue as far as I'm concerned. It's other immigrants who come from Muslim majority countries, and I don't care who says that to criticize that or to state that as a reality. You know, they'll say something like, "Oh, she's Islamophobic." No, I'm not Islamophobic. I'm just being honest about the reality. As a feminist, as a woman, men from Muslim majority countries, and it's been proven all through Europe, Ireland, especially England, all through England, Scotland, you know, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, they have been raised from cradle to grave with misogyny, with woman hatred. They feel like they can go out and grope and rape women in broad daylight. They do. It's a real issue. So Hispanic people in Portland, they're not who we need to worry about, you know. And I understand why people are against.
Well,
against
the
it.
main issue with the good, as you say, good Hispanic,
Yes.
they're not Americans.
Right.
And that's the main, because guess what? If they were basically coming over and paying their own deal, fine. But the taxpayers having to pick up the tab. I mean, when you think about, in all due respect, when you talk about this whole health plan aspect of it, when you go down to the hospital, you got two lines. You got one line where if you're an American citizen, you got to show your insurance.
Yeah.
If not, you get your home and all that other good stuff. You got the second line, it's a freebie.
Yeah. The vast majority of Hispanic people in Portland are really hardworking, though.
Oh, well, look.
It's just there are people from all nationalities who are criminals who come to America with their past
I'm
histories.
agreeing with you.
They're rapists, they're child molesters, they're pedophiles. Those people need to be apprehended and deported. So it's like, you know, it seems like there's two sides. There's
It's
people
two
who are
sides.
totally against it, and then there's people who are totally for it.
It's two sides.
I'm not against it, and I'm not for it,
Okay.
because I understand that you have to maintain a balance, and that's the challenge. You know.
And we already had this system, Don, when he was running for office. You know what I mean? He was running for office. He was going to be the sheriff.
Yeah.
He's the jailer aspect.
That
of
was
it.
a few years
and so
ago.
he had to respond to those individuals that were breaking the law.
Right.
And there was a process for that.
Yeah.
He'd take them in,
Yeah.
he'd vet them out,
Yeah.
take them to the court system, get in the whole deal with the Constitution, the whole 9 yards. There was a process.
Yeah.
We don't have that process with these other individuals that
That's
are coming
true.
in this
And
country.
the other thing about politics currently is, I just have to say this, extreme liberal policies are decimating
Yeah,
this country. You know, 15, 20 years ago, we had drug court.
Yeah.
If a person got arrested using an illegal substance, generally heroin or
We had a
methamphetamine,
process for
they
it.
would, you know, after
Yeah,
3 or 4
yeah.
times, they would be arrested, they would be sent,
Yeah,
put into
yeah,
custody,
yeah.
and then they'd be forced to go through drug treatment. Now, they're just dying on the streets, and I call it a form of genocide.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
there's absolutely no organization. It's just not like it was. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways.
Well, when Don was running for sheriff, one of the issues that he had on the table as part of his platform was the whole issue of making Wapato available
Right.
for the mentally ill and some of those
Yes.
other folks aspect.
Yeah.
That was part of his platform.
And it finally happened, thanks to that millionaire guy.
Yeah,
And it never, it didn't turn out to be a jail, but
yeah, right.
But
right.
at least he purchased it. What was his name? I can't remember his name.
In fact, nowadays, in all due respect, it's not even a jail. Now it's the best place in town to be.
Right.
You got a roof over your head. You're eating. You're getting trained, and you're safe.
Right. Yeah, and it's finally being used for something positive, you know.
Well,
which is great.
You know, it's really sad because even as we're discussing things, people will look at it from the standpoint, what side are you on?
Right.
No, it's my right. I can make,
Yeah.
we got the Constitution, the freedom of speech aspect of it. We don't even know where that is. And I've made a point with some of the folks who have been on to begin with, was that what are they teaching these kids in school?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Are they teaching them the definition of what that Constitution is all about?
Right. No, generally not.
When we were coming up, we were
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
with the respect of the flag,
Yeah,
what that
exactly.
system was all about. I mean, they'd even profile this deal on the tube when people went through that system and became American citizens.
Right.
They would let people see who these people
Right.
are. They would all be speaking English.
Right.
And English was not a such thing as English as a second language. That was ridiculous. I mean, and I've even said to some of the folks that I've known, they were Hispanics. I said, you guys are running around, laughing at people and speaking Spanish at the same time. I don't think you need to be speaking Spanish right now because, in all due respect, the moment you start speaking Spanish, they pick up the phone and call ICE.
Well,
That's a fact.
the thing about immigration,
You know what I'm saying? People are scared.
The
And these are, as you say, they are good people,
Right.
but they need to understand, and they're not.
Yeah,
They're
the
not
process.
The process
Yeah.
aspect of it, and I can remember when Ted Kulingoski, who was former Marine,
Right.
he was governor at the time. I was part of that team that was helping the transition. That he was trying to transition that dealing with Fox, who was the president of Mexico at the time, and trying to get this. But it was basically getting them into the system, right? You got
Yeah.
me? But guess what? They stopped the whole piece.
well, there's no checks and balances
No
anymore.
checks
it's
and
just
balances
like
at all.
open borders with no checks and balances, with no vetting, is a recipe for disaster.
And who's paying for it?
The citizens. Exactly.
And that's why the people don't understand. The
Yeah.
citizen, when all of a sudden insurance rates are being going up, that,
Right.
we're paying for that.
And what frustrates me is that these city leaders,
Oh.
Candace Avalos,
Oh.
Angelita Murillo, Mitch Green, Jamie Dunphy, the cop haters, the resident cop haters, the guy Samir, they won't understand any of this until they survive a traumatic experience.
And as you say,
Until they have a loved one who is either raped or
Yeah.
murdered or traumatically assaulted.
but they're getting that 150,000 in boot camp.
It's all about the
So
money.
you ask yourself the question: who put that system together to
Yeah.
allow them to be able to get elected?
Yeah, exactly.
No one put anything out to the citizens from the standpoint of these are the issues that we're faced with, and that's the way these people should be interviewed. So if you got background and a resume that can relate to solving these problems,
Right.
run for office. And the media should be right in there. Basically, when they interview these folks, that's what they should be interviewing them on. They didn't do that. So consequently, it's about the money.
It's all about the money. That's all they want. They want the perks of being a politician in Portland.
So my point is that it's not their fault totally. It's the individuals who put the process together to begin with.
Right.
I don't know how they went about doing it.
I personally think they're overpaid, but they don't make a good impression when they're condescending and patronizing to speakers. And that city meeting the other day, that was shameful.
It was very shameful. It was
really disappointing.
Well, it's encouraged me. I think we need to follow through with reference to ask them the question: why is it I didn't run? Don, you need to run again. You got to run for office. You need to run for
collectively
mayor.
we have elected a government that hasn't know what the hell they're doing.
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But see, I'm not blaming
They're
them all.
collectively anti-police. How can you do that?
Because they're naive, because they're uneducated, they're anti-police. That's the bottom line. And they will never accept that. It always takes personal trauma for people like that to finally realize, hey, maybe I should not be so narrow-minded. Maybe I should approach this on an individual basis, one police officer at a time, and not group them into one single aggregate of kitten raping degenerates. You know what I mean?
Well,
we've elected a collection of saboteurs.
Exactly.
Boy, I tell you.
They're all saboteurs.
Yeah.
No police. That's.
And they don't understand how they come across. That little video that Angelita Murillo made, the video that, number one, it was poorly executed. That video of them walking towards the camera. We don't need, cheap theatrics like that. They need to do their job and not engage in immature, sophomoric videos like that.
And Murillo's telling people how to avoid prosecution in some of these crimes by using burner phones.
Right.
I mean, whose side is she on?
Well, that's number one. That's promoting illegal activity. That's promoting breaking the law.
Well, the other thing too, you think about before they actually get together.
Back to Paraguay with her. No foreigners in our government.
Yep.
Where in the hell is Paraguay anyway?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know where that is.
South America someplace.
South America.
But at the same time, when think about our old form of government, they would not actually go into communicating with the whole voting body before they'd have those discussions to discuss what are we going to be communicating, because at the end of the day, we're going to be talking about a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
This is just, like I said, the mayor should have been sitting in the so-called chair of the city council.
Right.
That the mayor should be sitting in that seat.
He doesn't have any power anymore.
He has no veto power whatsoever.
Because of this change in government. And then also, it's the new voting system. The voting system is extremely complicated.
It is.
People probably voted for certain individuals, and it's the ranked choice. It's very questionable, because I know a lot of people I've talked to were like, how did they end up winning? They didn't want them to win.
That's right.
A lot of Portland citizens feel conned. They feel cheated.
Yep.
And you could tell in that meeting the other day when these business owners are virtually begging.
Yep.
For more police, for public safety to become a priority. And these leaders, these elected officials don't understand, without commerce, without business, Portland will cease to be.
Well, they couldn't have, they wouldn't, in all due respect, the reason why they didn't understand, they didn't know the background.
Exactly. They're not the most educated.
It's a sad note that we, the system, whoever basically was the system that put that system together, they're the neglected one, allowing these individuals to believe that, hey, look, you're qualified to run for office to be a city councilman.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I don't think a lot of...
Let's go back. Who did this?
I don't think a lot of Portland voters actually have a lot of insight into the voting process, and they vote based on party lines. They don't study the issues. No. They vote on whether or not they like how someone looks, what color they are, as opposed to their qualifications, as opposed to the issues they promote or the issues they don't promote.
Right.
They vote by party lines, and that's a mistake.
I would have liked to have seen that particular meeting talking about the whole issue with Sanctuary City, public safety. I would have liked to have seen Day up there as chief of police, talking to the whole issue of public safety aspect of it. The Chamber of Commerce is the new group, if you will. I didn't see him up there.
Yeah.
The guy who represents that piece.
Yeah.
I didn't see the mayor. The mayor should have been at the table, is in there talking about that piece.
Yeah.
And as you say, and then the committee talking about the economics and stuff. Lay the platform out and what they're suggesting, so to speak, and then have them to respond. But they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And now we're totally confused. Now we're just waiting on one thing. What's going to be in the mail next week for how much more taxes I'm going to have to be paying? How many senior citizens are going to lose their homes?
Yeah.
How many people are not going to have, well, in all due respect, the health thing is already pretty well settled. Because I'll just take point blank. Now, let me tell you this. If you can't pay your insurance bill, don't pay it at all. Just stand in line.
Right. One thing that really concerns me is in terms of the speakers at that meeting, a lot of them kept saying the same thing.
Yeah.
They would arrest them and they'd be out the next day. We have a situation in Portland and Seattle with extremist liberal judges who continually release offenders again and again and again. And they go out and they think, I can do whatever I want because I'll just go to jail. I'll go downtown for 4 or 5 hours and I'll be released again. So their crimes become more and more violent, more and more aggressive. And these business owners are explaining this, and the president, that woman that was governing the meeting, and the rest of the city leaders, they came across as extremely cold, especially that woman president. Extreme. I call her the ice queen.
But
she
no background.
couldn't have cared less.
Well, she couldn't
They think
articulate.
that they're dictators. They act like they're dictators. They aren't listening to the constituency. They aren't listening to Portland citizens, and Portlanders are sick of it.
Well, then a lot of Portlanders can't say anything.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing, their fear. You know, all of a sudden I'm going to get shot. Somebody's going to come to my house and knock on the door and just beg. So I'm not going to say anything. I want someone else to take care of it.
Right. There's a lot of fear. Yeah.
There's a lot of fear,
Yeah.
and we got to get over this fear.
Yeah.
You know, and Steve's getting ready to retire on Channel 2. He was one of the activists that basically used to always do these shows, if you will. He's not doing that anymore. He's getting ready to go. So I'm looking at who's going to take the seat.
Yeah.
And Ken Body can't do it. In fact, they should have done it.
I met him. He's really nice.
Yeah, but nice guy. But bottom line, they hired him as an affirmative action piece. He should have been anchored a long time ago.
Yeah.
He should have been anchored on Channel 6.
Yeah.
But they didn't want him to be anchored. You know, they brought, excuse me, I can appreciate the Asian situation, but the woman doesn't have the background. I mean, she doesn't have the background, and you know, we've gotten this race thing, so we need to try to put things together and just call us all Americans. But by keeping this division thing, every time you turn around, it's being pushed in your face.
Well,
the people get more and more confused from saying, "Well, I hate him," because they're not even giving the person an opportunity to speak up.
One thing I should mention, and I always remember this, I always go back to this, Fred Stewart, our good friend Fred Stewart. Fred Stewart is, everyone knows Fred. He's a Portland realtor and real estate broker, and he has explained to me, I learned a lot about demographics, a lot about the population of Portland becoming more and more white. So when you have these businesses leaving Portland, it becomes, and you don't protect business owners who are people of color, and those businesses go out of business, Portland will become more and more white. And that's another thing these city leaders need to think about. They're not helping the racial diversity of Portland when they don't protect small businesses.
And they got a neon sign in the front of what's this, the little elf that's up there? Come to Portland.
Right.
You can do anything you want to do.
Right.
Excuse the Prince, you can take a crap on the deal here, you can piss out on the deal, and they'll take you in and give you a good shower and whatever. In fact, the winter's coming up. Don't worry about that. Just go to Freddy's or somebody and steal a deal and go in there and get clean. They'll get your medical and all that other good stuff for nothing. I mean, seriously, it's really a sad note to even make that kind of a statement. They're advertising it. Portland is on the map internationally.
Right. And it's going to continue to get more and more white.
That's right.
Because because city leaders like Angelina Murillo, like Candace Avalos, like Samir and Mitch Green and Jamie Dunphy, they don't understand what they're doing when they're so anti-police, when they don't understand the importance of public safety in how it relates to small businesses. Because a lot of these business owners that spoke at the meeting were people of color.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, And they're helping along without their knowledge or consent, no doubt. They're helping along this process of Portland becoming more and more white.
Yep.
And they don't even understand that.
Woo! And I didn't see any of the leaders.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the leaders that come in the front of the table there. And in fact, I'm going to make a point now, and hopefully tell Joanne to come on the show.
Yeah.
Because I think she's part of the process.
She's a good gal.
She's part of the deal. I think she's there with those young ladies that you just mentioned.
Yeah, she's behind the scenes.
She's behind the scenes.
You can't hold her down.
Well, I think we'd been better off. We'd been better off had we allowed her to run. See, the other group said that she couldn't run. Now, if she was sitting at the table, she would have been forced to say something about this piece. Because it'll all be focused on her, and she does have background on them about. And then maybe we might get the former president of the Portland Police Department. What's his name? What was the guy named? The black guy. What was his name? But anyway, but he's up in Vegas now. He said, "The hell with it."
Charles the Moose?
No, not Moose. What Moose? No, Moose died. He's gone.
Moose is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name right off the bat, but see, he would maybe get involved. I tried to get him to run for mayor, but he wouldn't. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have a force. We don't have a public safety force.
It's a joke.
And,
890 police officers in Portland. We have a little over 800.
Yep.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well,
in 2025?
Folks might be a little upset when I make this statement, but the bottom line is that I don't look at Trump from the standpoint of Trump, the personal side. No, to me, Trump, the definition of Trump to me is that it's a wake-up call.
Exactly.
It's a wake-up call. Don't look at him and all this sidebar thing. It's a wake-up call. He's got you at the table concerned. He's going to be getting people the fear thing. Otherwise, it was going away.
Right.
I mean, it was getting down to the point people were just going to say, "Hey, I'm just going to be sitting up on my porch with my shotgun,
right?
And I'm just going to start shooting people."
Right, because that's what's next. Vigilante justice
Vigilante,
is next.
big time.
And that's what's next. If we don't have public safety, especially for businesses, especially in downtown, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be more examples of vigilante justice, and that's what these new leaders are promoting. And I'm sure they're not even aware of it.
Homeowners, not just downtown.
Homeowners.
I'm talking about homeowners.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't be basically sit there. Well, gee, I need coffee, I need some eggs or something like that. At night, I have a problem. I'm going to knock on my neighbor's door. You'll get shot.
Right.
I mean, that's where we're going.
Right.
So, folks, wake up. It's a wake-up call. Please wake up. It's a public safety conversation.
We need to get rid of this present form of government and go back to a mayor and 4 commissioners.
There you go.
This present form of government costing us $18 million.
Right.
That's their salary burden.
That's right.
Twice as much as it used to be.
How many? Say that again. One more time, John. How much?
The new form of government is costing us $18 million in salary burden.
That's just salary.
Just the salary for these people.
Yeah.
The old form of government, a mayor and 4 commissioners, they were like $6,000 or $7,000 million.
Yeah.
But we've gone from from a good form of government to expensive nonsense.
And the other thing is that
it makes me mad.
Well, that's why we're having the show.
Well, and another.
I want you to get mad. Get mad. That's the only way we're going to change things. Due respect. And hey, don't look. Excuse the French. Don't play the personality attack situation. With reference to President Trump.
Yeah.
It's a wake-up call. He's the president of the United States, and right now we need public safety. Yeah. He sent 800 officers.
Right.
And trained them. And they are homeowners.
Well, another thing I wanted to mention about the new city leaders, these new city commissioners, is that the rumor is, and I've heard this from several sources, they're not getting along. The group of extreme liberals, cop-hating liberals, Dunphy, Samir, Murillo, Candace Avalos, they have kind of gotten together. They're like a gang now. And they're against Dan Ryan, Loretta Smith, who are older. No one has more experience on in this city council than Loretta Smith.
Yeah, but guess what?
She has more experience than anyone.
But she's being pushed. She's pushed in the corner because she had to vote for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
See, she couldn't say no because, in all due respect, she had to look at the 150,000 too.
Yeah.
She could have said no. If she had said no, then they'd been jumping all over the place. But I think she's in a position because she knows all these folks. Even Dan, make the statement that you know for a fact that this wasn't right.
Right.
They should have said something.
There's so many things that have happened in the last 6 to 8 months. One of the things was that for district, I can't remember what, it's Loretta's district.
District 1, I think.
District 1, she had her other partners, she offered to share office space with them.
Oh, yeah.
And Avalos and Dunphy and
Said,
someone
"No
else,
way."
they didn't want that.
That's right.
They wanted to spend millions of dollars on creating a new office. That's not their money to spend. That's taxpayers' money. So Loretta Smith offers to share
I
office
agree.
space with them, and they say no.
I agree.
They're
I
not
agree.
getting
I hear you.
along, and
I hear you.
that's one of the reasons, because their ideologies are different. You know, they call people like Loretta and Dan Ryan boomers in the worst, most insulting way. You know, because these
But they're still sitting in that seat.
Right.
And they have the opportunity to articulate exactly where they're feeling.
Yeah.
They should not have voted
yeah.
for that definition, but they should have. They should have.
Yeah.
They should have been, if anything, leading up that committee,
Yeah.
and had those discussions.
Yeah.
But I can rest assured they weren't the chairs of those committees.
It's not going to have a good outcome, because also it's going
no,
to inspire Trump's ire, and he's going to it's just going to be a challenge. It's going to be considered a challenge by Trump. You know, it's just not going to end well.
It's an $18 million mistake.
That's right. Well, like I said, it's a wake up call. So wake up. That's what the show's about.
Exactly.
This is called a wake up call
Right,
now.
right.
Got me? And please don't knock on my door.
Let's run for office again.
That's what
I'll
I'm
be the
saying.
chief of police.
There you
You
go.
can be the mayor.
Oh, well, let's be
We'll
both.
straighten this mess out
Let's
in
do
about
it. Let's do it.
3 days.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get
Take
to.
a front loader
I was trying to get
and go
to,
right down the street,
I like it.
scooping up the homeless
I like
people.
it. I like it. Oh, gee whiz, they really don't want. I mean,
Don is joking.
No,
for anyone
what do you
who
mean?
might take
Yeah,
him seriously.
Yeah, Norma would say the same thing about me. See, she would say the same thing about me. But the bottom line is that we're really, in all seriousness, we got a problem.
Yeah, we do.
And hopefully this show is dedicated to the new city commissioners, that whole group over there.
Yeah.
And you guys go back to the table and think about some of the things that were being said.
Yeah, and we hope that they grow up. We
want
hope that
them to-
they
I want
become a
them to
little
grow
more
up.
enlightened,
I
because
want them to
they
grow
think
up.
they have all the answers and they don't.
Again, and
They don't.
because in all due respect, the way things are going, you're not going to pick up that 150,000. I can rest assured.
Yeah.
You can rest assured. People are going to react to that situation.
They're gonna be one-hit wonders.
They're going to be more responsible people running for office
Yes.
this next time around.
Yes.
And there might be some recalls, because I think
Right.
that might be our brand.
Yes.
Just right like we're doing today. Let's recall some of the individuals that are.
Trying to
Exactly.
recall Kotek now.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's on the recall.
Yes, you can get the recall piece aspect of it. So, but my point is just a wake-up call.
Right.
We're fearful. A lot of folks are fearful, but we're able to say something
Yeah.
because you've had this platform for a long time. I have had it too. You have had it too. And, we do understand what the Constitution is all about, and we love this country.
Right.
And we care about the people. I even care about those folks that are sitting there.
And-
but the
and-
fact they're wrong seats.
There's nothing wrong with being patriotic.
That's
There's
right.
nothing wrong with saying, I love America.
Yep.
And a lot of liberal Democrats act like if you say, I love America, I'm a patriot,
Yep.
that you're conservative,
Yep.
you're a Republican.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
bullshit.
Yep. Yep.
Pardon my French.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with being
Well,
patriotic.
at times
I'm a
I can-
Democrat, and I'm a
Yeah.
patriot.
Yeah, well, all due respect, I'm a conservative. I'm an American.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's my right.
Right.
And I'm liberal at times too.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
I'm conservative at times, a little bit more, because we went through the same camp. We went through boot camp. They taught us the right and the wrong of things. That's what we went through school. Both of us did.
Right.
And see, we don't have to draft anymore. All these young people that we see here today, Don, they've lost that opportunity. If we had that draft today, it'd be a less of a problem. Okay, sounds good.
You learn a lot
Look,
at boot camp.
all right. Well, hey, this has been great, fantastic. Appreciate it. You got to come back on.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens again. Then we'll get
Okay.
back. Okay. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much, Don. It's a pleasure.
My friend.
We're running. This is our election. Okay. we're gonna run for both the mayorship.
straighten out this mess.
There you go. Let's get it done. Let's get it squared away. It'll be done.
I don't need 18 million either.
That's right. That's for sure. Again, folks, thank you very much for being with us, and get together with your neighbors and think about this. Share the show. Do the same thing we did. You don't have to be behind camera. You can just go on and talk about these issues, because I know it's on your table. And don't let fear stop you from solving these problems. You got to vote this next time around. You got to get involved. These commissioners should be knocking on your door. You got 3 districts. Make them work for that money that they're getting. $150,000 a shot. That's just that. I didn't even talk about the perks. They're probably getting about that's about $200,000 easy. Okay.
And they get a car and insurance.
That's right.